Welcome, my name is Sribatsa Pradhan. In this video, we will discuss about process server load balancing versus clustering on secure agent. You will learn about the architecture of load balance and cluster configuration, demo of both configuration, key differences in terms of the use cases for each configuration, and benefits and challenges of both the approaches. Here are the prerequisites. You should have understanding of secure agent group or runtime environment in IDMC, and understanding of process server. As you may already be aware, secure agent group or runtime environment contains one or more secure agents. Secure agent is a combination of multiple microservices like data integration, mass ingestion, etc. Process server is one among them. Process server comes with an embedded Postgres DB to store metadata related to assets published on a secure agent that are part of application integration product. As you can see, the load balance configuration has two independent process servers as part of one runtime environment. You can also have more than two process servers as part of the same runtime environment. They work independent of each other and do not communicate with each other. The runtime environment is responsible for routing requests in a round-robin fashion to each of the nodes to perform load balancing of incoming API execution requests. Cluster configuration of process server looks similar from runtime environment perspective with the load balance configuration. That is, there are two or more secure agents on it, and each has a process server service running. However, each of the process servers will share a single embedded database in master node or an externalized database. This is unlike load balance configuration of process servers where each process server contains its own database. Since cluster configuration has a single metadata DB, process server in this configuration communicates with each other through master node. Master node receives the request for API invocation and distributes it among other nodes. It also responsible for performing failover from one node to another in case API encounters a failure during execution. Click on Runtime Environment to see list of runtime environments. Right-click on your runtime environment, click on Enable or Disable Services, and ensure that Application Integration Service is selected, then click on OK. You can view the list of secure agents added to runtime environment by clicking on the Expand Collapse toggle. I have two secure agents. If you want to add a secure agent to runtime environment, you can right-click on the runtime environment, click on Add or Remove Secure Agent, and here you should be able to see a list of eligible secure agents that are not part of any runtime environment, and you can select it, then click on OK to add it. Let's click on one of the secure agents to view its detail. Multiple secure agents on a runtime environment with a process server service running will be by default in load balance configuration. So let's confirm that. Expand system configuration details. From service dropdown, select process server. From type dropdown, select cluster. By default, cluster enabled is set to false, which means it's a load balanced configuration. Let's confirm the DB details by clicking on DB from the type dropdown and check the DB URL, which is set to localhost. So these are the two configurations you should confirm to understand if process server is in the load balance configuration or in cluster configuration. Now I will show you step-by-step setup for cluster configuration. To do that, let's click on Edit. From Service dropdown, select Process Server. From Type dropdown, select Cluster. Set cluster enabled to true by clicking on the pencil icon to edit it. Similarly, one of the secure origin has to be set as primary node. Let's set this one as primary node by retaining the value true. Let's review the DB configuration by switching to DB. Here you have to ensure that the database URL is pointing to localhost for primary secure agent if you have not externalized the database configuration. If you externalize the DB, you have to provide the configuration for externalized database by changing the host and port. Similarly, you have to change the logdb URL here. Click on Save to save these changes. Let's make similar changes on the second secure agent. Click on Edit. From Service dropdown, let's select Process Server. From Type dropdown, let's select Cluster. Here you have to set the cluster enable to true and change the cluster primary node to false since the first agent has already been selected as cluster. Now switch to DB. Here you have to change the DB URL to point to either the primary host or port, or you have to point it to externalized database if you have used externalized database. Similarly, make changes for the log URL. Click on Save. Let's stop the process server on the primary agent to complete the setup on the secure agent server side for cluster configuration. Click on Stop. Click on OK. Log into primary agent secure agent server. Then navigate to apps process engine data PostgreSQL data location on the secure agent installation directory. Let's edit pg_hba.conf by using vi editor or any other suitable editor. Let's modify IPv4 for local connections from 127.0.0.1 to 0.0.0/0 so that it will allow connections from all the agents. Let's save the changes. Display the content of the file to ensure that the changes are saved. Navigate to apps process engine data db util location to restart the PostgreSDB for these changes to take effect. To stop the PostgreSDB, let's use the command server_stop.sh. Now we can start the Postgres server by using server_start.sh. The PostgreSDB server has been restarted and is able to accept connection. Log into the second secure agent to confirm that it is able to accept connection to the Postgres server from here. To do that, use the command curl-v hostname : the port, in this case 5432. If you get a message connected means it is able to connect to the Postgres server from here. Let's start both the process server and administrator UI for the changes to take it. You have to perform this activity in order. Let's first start the process server for the primary one. Click on Start, click on OK. After the primary secure agent process server is up and running, you can restart other process servers. Let's stop and start this process server. Click on Stop, click on OK. Now start the process server. Now both the process servers are up and running. This marks completion of cluster setup. Here are the key differences between the load balance configuration is suited for short-lived stateless API request and OData requests. On the other hand, cluster configuration can serve better for long-running process and process execution where recovery of payload from failure is important. Here are the advantages of a load balance configuration. The process server setup is simple and straightforward. It improves the overall throughput of API execution. You get high availability. It provides redundancy against a single point of failure. Cluster configuration has following advantages. Since there is a centralized database, it does not require republish of assets when a new secure agent is added to the runtime environment. Event-based connections like File, Salesforce, Kafka, etc. can face a duplication issue with load balance configuration, which is avoided using cluster configuration. It provides failover and recovery of process execution during execution of a process, since multiple nodes on the setup communicates with each other through master node. You can externalize the database to offload maintaining and managing metadata PostgreSDB to a cloud provider like AWS Aurora, Azure Postgres SQL, etc. Monitoring of job execution has unified view across multiple agents in application integration console. Let's talk about the disadvantages of load balance configuration. It does not provide fault tolerance and failover of process during process execution. It requires republish of assets to ensure contribution is present on the newly added secure agent on the runtime environment, as the Postgres SQL metadata DB are independent of each other. It has a duplicate execution issue with event-based connections like File, Salesforce, Kafka, etc. Cluster configuration has following disadvantages. The setup is complex. Throughput is slightly more than that of load balance configuration. Database becomes a single point of failure. However, it can be avoided by using an externalized database. To summarize, we have learned about architectures of load balanced and cluster configuration for process server. We also learned about how to set up both these configuration. We get to know about key differences between these two configuration. You can refer to below documentation to learn more about load balance and cluster configuration. We would love to hear from you. Please reach out to us at supportvideos@informatica.com or x.com/infosupport to comment or provide feedback. Thank you.